Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to a new episode of the Ambition Podcast. My name is Tristan. I'm the host of the podcast. And in this episode, guys, what you guys are going to be watching or listening to is a conversation I had with a really, really good friend of mine who I've known for many, many years, that being Brutus, who's also part of my esports team, that being Awaken. And we talk about just how both of us got into gaming. We talk about different things within the gaming community, about Twitch, about just a ton of different culture things that we both like, and a bunch of other things as well. So if you guys do enjoy this episode, please make sure to leave a rating if you're listening to this as well, guys. Make sure to leave a subscribe on whatever channel you guys are watching this on YouTube, as well as leave a like on this video if you guys do enjoy. And with that being said, guys, let's get to the episode. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Tristan. I am the host here of the Ambition Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in to a new episode of the podcast. And in this episode, we got a really good friend of mine, someone who I have a lot of respect for in the scene. That is Brutus. Say what's up, brother.
Hey, what's up, man? My name is Brutus. Twitch.tv/TheKidBrutus. Shameless plug. YouTube.com/TheKidBrutus, I think. I'm not sure. I don't know if I have custom links set up, but yeah, my name's Brutus. I make cringy videos on YouTube, and I stream. Yeah.
I think, I forget what the requirements are for the vanity URLs on YouTube, because it's been so long. Like, I got mine back when I was in, like, high school. So,
yeah.
Like, I actually had to, I remember when they first came out, and I literally had to rush to get mine. Because I was literally afraid someone was going to take it. I tried to get youtube.com/Taze, and yeah, someone took that, so I was like, I hate you. But yeah, thank you for getting on the podcast and everything.
Of course.
So, kind of talk about how you first got into gaming and all that.
Okay, long story. I know we've got time, so let's see. One Christmas, I think I was 8. The Wii came out, or it came out a long time ago, like way before that. And I got it that Christmas, and I just remember sitting and for hours I was just playing Super Mario Bros. Wii, just over and over again.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that was the first game really that I'd ever played. And then cut to a couple years later, my grandma, I think, bought me a PS4, and ever since I had just been playing PS4. I've been playing Apex. I've been grinding a lot of Apex, and all my friends started playing games, and then we were all just playing on like real legit consoles instead of just a Wii or a PS2 or whatever, and we were all just playing on legit consoles. It was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I will point out at least about the Wii, though, is that at least it did have Black Ops 1, so there's that.
It did have Black Ops 1. I remember that.
Funny enough, and there's very few times I've ever told this story, but I actually got in-school suspension in middle school because somebody ratted me out because my parents had bought me one year a Nintendo DS, and I went to GameStop and I actually bought Black Ops 1 for the DS, and I would connect to the school server, like to the school Wi-Fi on the DS, and I'd just like play campaign and other things with friends, and somebody ratted me out. They're like, "You're playing an M-rated game in school." I was like, "Yeah, so."
In the middle of class.
It'd be like even in the middle of lunch when we're not like supposed to. And I'm just like, hey, I'm trying to have some fun here.
Yeah.
I'm sure one of my friends said something like pretty snarky, like Mason quote or something like that, which, looking back on it, was probably the best thing to say. I forget what he said, but yeah. I mean, I'd played video games basically since like 5-6 years old. I've talked about the story on a couple of the last podcast episodes I've done, but I was 6 years old playing COD 4. And I lived overseas at the time, so what me and some friends would do is we'd go to the local Navy exchange and we'd go play COD 4 on the displays and stuff until they eventually realized it's a bunch of kids playing an M-rated game, and then they'd kick us out, and then whatever it may be. But yeah. I mean, otherwise handheld games were always what got me. I think I was in elementary school when my dad had a PlayStation 2, and we religiously played San Andreas and Modern Warfare 2. So, yeah. Absolutely wonderful choices. Modern Warfare 2 trash talk still rings in my head every night as I sleep. So it's always a fun world.
Definitely.
So I guess what got you into streaming, to doing YouTube and content
Okay, I vividly remember this. I was in South Dakota going walleye fishing, and I asked my dad, I said, "Dad, can I do a YouTube channel?" And he goes, "I guess." So we got home, we were on vacation, we got home, and my mom helped me set it up, and we got this little camera off of eBay or whatever, and I sat on my PS2. I had a cracked TV screen, and obviously there wasn't Elgato, or there wasn't capture cards that I could plug into my PS2, right? And so I had my sister, and she held this camera, and she was I don't know, I think she was maybe 9, and she had the camera, and it was all shaky, and whatever. It was so garbage. And I remember I said, "What's up?" or something like that. I said, "Hey guys, my name is..." Oh, what was the name? It was something. It was so bad, but I think everyone's first gamer tag is so bad.
Yeah.
It was. Oh yeah, I remember. It was Total Takeover Gaming.
Oh, and God.
Yeah, and I said, I am new to the YouTube game.
Yeah.
And before I get started, I just want to thank Stampy Longnose, because he inspired me to make YouTube. And I'm like, and I looked back, and I was watching that video with my friend over stream the other day. We were just looking through all my old videos and whatever, and he was like, "Dude," I go, "What?" And he goes, "Stampy Longnose?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you remember he made all those Minecraft videos?" And he was like, "Yeah," but him, it was bad. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, it was an experience, and so yeah, I guess my biggest inspiration, according to 10-year-old me, was Stampy Longnose.
Yeah, I mean, God, for me, I'd always known about YouTube before I got onto YouTube. For me though, I kind of dabbled in the different areas of watching YouTube. So first, I think I was probably, I want to say 8 or 9 when I started watching Lonely Girl 15. No wait, I might have been a little bit younger, because I was there in the beginning days, kind of where people were like, "Is she real? Is she fake? Is she an actress?" And then eventually we all found out that. And then I remember when Ignoring Orange first hit YouTube, and that was that was fun. And then FPS, the original FPS Russia videos, which, God, I hate that FPS Russia will never be able to make another video again, which kind of sucks. Well, he won't be able to make another gun video, but I know he does the podcast with Woody's Gamer Tag. But yeah, it's been an interesting time. I think what got me into actually doing gaming content though was I stumbled upon Nadeshot in the middle of, I think it was MOG spring, spring final, or I don't remember if it was finals or not, but I know it was MOG spring event online, and or it might have been Atlanta. Again, this is like 8, almost 9 years ago. Black Ops 2 time frame, and I'd stumbled upon it on Twitch, and then Nadeshot and Scump were in the middle of the road to 100-0, and that's where they started posting all these things to YouTube, and so that's how I ended up getting into making content, which was fun.
Nice.
Yeah. It's kind of been crazy to see how things have happened with YouTube. I've partially lost my sanity with YouTube at this point. Just after everything, like, I'm like, okay, nothing surprises me anymore of what happens on the platform.
Yeah.
So I guess going from there, talk about the journey, obviously, from starting with streaming and YouTube up to this point for you.
So, like, are we talking, like, going all the way back, or?
I guess, you know, like, it's...
Do you want, like, okay, so I can tell two versions of this story. I can tell from when I was Total Takeover Gaming to the switching point to Kid Brutus to now, or I can just start from the Kid Brutus to now.
Probably Brutus to now.
Okay, so I changed my name because obviously it sucked, right?
Yeah.
So I decided, I believe it was 3 years ago, I had been doing YouTube technically for 6 years.
Okay.
So 3 years as TTG and then 3 years as the Kid Brutus. So basically, Star Wars Battlefront for the PS4 had just come out. It came out and we pre-ordered it.
Of course.
So on launch day, I did not know how to make or save video clips on my PS4, so I'm still using the little camera I had for my first video ever, I think. And then eventually, I think it was the next video I made on that, I figured it out. And so since then, I've been taking really small steps. Like, I just now kind of know how to edit my videos properly on, like, Share Factory and whatever, because I don't have the money or the time to sit down and upload videos to my computer and edit it, right? So I like just now figured out how to do, like, edits and stuff. So for the videos for the past 3 years have just been, like, really kind of garbage, I guess. I don't want to say garbage because some of them were decent, but I mean just kind of throwing content out there, hoping, oh, maybe this one will blow up or whatever. And then I realized, nope, you gotta put in the work. So I started streaming on YouTube first, and most of my videos on my YouTube channel are me streaming Rocket League with my friend Mason.
Okay.
We've never met IRL. We met in his stream, actually. He was playing Rocket League, and his name's Mason Rose. He doesn't do Rocket League anymore. He does Fortnite montages and stuff, and it's...
Of course.
I don't want to say it's lame, because it's... I mean, it's not for him, and obviously he gets way more views than I do. But I mean, I don't know. I just think Fortnite's kind of lame now.
Yeah. I remember, I remember when the YouTube apocalypse happened after Logan Paul's Japanese stunt. And I remember, like, distinctly talking to, like, someone at YouTube, and I was like, so, or no, I wasn't talking to someone at YouTube, but it was someone who had connections with YouTube, and I was like, so, like, what, you know, like, I'm a gaming channel, like, how is this going to be possible? And they're like, well, first off, you know, we already had the issue with World War II coming out, and that was going to be, like, enough of a problem, because they were, like, literally, I think, like, weeks or so forth before the game came out, they had a, like, terms of service update, where it's, like, anything with mass violence, wars, etc., in tags, thumbnails, etc., would get you suppressed. And we're like, the literal name of the game is World War II. There's no...
Literally.
There's no way around it. I tried to deal with it, but they kept freezing my views on videos, and that just irritated me. I think the first month and a half of the game, I probably had more than 6,000-7,000 views, and only a fraction of those were ever counted.
Yeah.
Because of that, which kind of sucks. But then, it literally, like, again, I literally asked someone, I was like, so, I'm like, what are you suggesting? And they're like, well, Fortnite's a really big thing, and, you know, clip channels are a big thing. I was like, first off, the Fortnite community is one of the most clickbaitish communities out there, too.
Yeah.
The suggestion of being a clip channel legally would get me in trouble for copyright infringement, right? Because, like, you know, I told someone, was like, okay, you realize most Fortnite clip channels out there take other streamers' clips without permission, right? So I was like, yeah. I was like, I'd be getting basically terminated with, like, with intent, you know. So that was always a problem I had, but no, I mean, I think you can still have some, like, especially with Warzone and so forth, and I think the fact that Fwiz is obviously in control of YouTube gaming and stuff, that there's not, like, as big of an issue as there used to be.
Yeah.
So I guess going from there, I mean, obviously, you know, I think, you know, the biggest connection you and I have is through Awaken and everything. Kind of talk about, obviously, I mean, you and I have kind of dealt with getting you in and everything, but, like, talk about why you decided to join and all that.
Okay, so Awaken Militia.
Yep.
What a story. I first got Twitter, and I was just kind of, I wanted to push out content. I was a variety streamer.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did Battlefront first, and then I did Rocket League with Mason, and then I started playing Overwatch. And I became, like, hardcore Overwatch, like, grinding competitive. Like, I hit Masters on PS4, I think. Yeah. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong, but I was a pretty high rank, and I was like, great, I wanna grind. I wanna make content on Overwatch. And so I got Twitter, because obviously social media is the best form of, like, getting connections and interacting with people. So I got Twitter. I was just kind of searching, looking. I was like, okay, which team am I gonna grind for? And then I saw, Awaken Militia. I'll you know, just look or whatever. And so I was looking. I saw that you guys, like, in a row won, like, 2 or 3 tournaments.
Yeah.
I don't remember what game. You, like, won 2 or 3 tournaments in a row, and, like, you had, like, a bunch of, like, there was a bunch of hype, because, like, everyone from the league kind of retweeted it, and they were like, this was clutch or whatever. I was like, okay, so they're pretty decent. And then, like, from afar, I always kind of kept an eye on Awaken. You know, I was looking at, like, Team Dire and Team New Age and you know, like, all these other orgs and stuff, but I always kind of had my eye on Awaken.
Yeah.
And then I finally decided, okay, who am I gonna grind for?
Yeah.
You know, like, a couple years later, I'm like, who do you guys want me to grind for? And I don't know what it was, and, well, like, I did a poll, and it was Awaken or I don't remember the other team. It might have been Team Dire.
Yeah.
But I was like, who am I gonna grind for? You know, and then you DM'd me and you're like, hi. I said hi.
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah.
You're like, I think Awaken Brutus sounds fire. I'm like, you're right. And then you're like, so. I was like, so. And then you're like, you wanna join? I was like, yeah. So here we are.
Yeah.
But I remember, because I think you asked me in a DM, let me check real quick. You asked me in an old DM on the Awaken thing. You said howdy.
Yeah.
You said Awaken Brutus sounds cool.
Okay.
And then I said I'm in. You said let's go. And I said it's ironic. When I first started my Twitch, Tristan followed me and I was like, yeah, that would be a cool team to be in. And then you're like, oh, guess what? It's me. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Guess who it is?
Yeah, I was literally like, hey, Brutus sounds fire and everything. And you're like, you know, you're like, I can't argue with that. And so, yeah, I think it's kind of funny because most people don't expect me to be, like, in control of the Twitter. And like
Yeah.
90% of the
definitely
time,
know. He's just got a social media manager.
like 90% of the time, it's me tweeting and stuff, and like answering DMs and everything. Like I know Awaken has access to the Twitter and stuff, but like yeah, most of the time over the years it's been me. And so like in terms of things though, yeah, that I think is kind of always a shock factor to some people. It's like who am I talking to? It's like, oh, you're talking to me. It's like
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I mean, I think for me what it was is just knowing you for I mean, I know you and I had probably known each other at least since before the summer. Because like I know really the first time that we had talked was at least from my personal Twitter when I was trying to build Annex.
Yes.
And so, which I still am. Just I'm taking time to like really focus on something else that will be easier to do than that, because the idea for Annex is building a social media and content platform, because TikTok was getting shut down or banned. Was at the time was supposed to get banned.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, this be the absolute best time to do this. And then I had like, I'm like super like over the top with like, okay, this needs to be perfect and blah blah blah. And I had a really good idea, but the artboard was all over the place. And so I think it'll take me like maybe a year or so to actually get like the design that I really want for it to be done and everything, which is, it's kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, like, it is what it is.
Yeah, and sorry for interrupting, by the way.
No, you're
I think the original design for Annex was really good. You had like 7 different security features you could choose from.
Yeah, it was like, you know, people could do passcode, phone, fingerprint.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So I think the idea is something that's like really interesting. But I think at the same time it's just I'm just someone who like always tries to go above and beyond. It's like can't really just be happy with like, okay, this is great how this looks. It's like, no, like even if like the second someone probably started on like coding it, I'd be like, wait.
Yeah, definitely.
Add this. And so to me that's one of my downfalls as a person, is that I'm just like so always focused on trying to be like above and beyond. I think even with the conversations that we had today, that kind of came out.
Oh, yeah. In the GC, or are you talking about you and me discussing?
Yeah, in GC, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really read up on that. I kind of skimmed through it, and I was like, well, he makes some good points, but also it just sounds like he's spewing crap.
Yeah, I think 2020, as I just said to some people, is like, it's a giant kitchen sink that's been thrown at all of us, and
giant kitchen sink that's been thrown at all of us. I'm using that. It's a giant kitchen sink that just got chucked at us.
Yeah, it's literally just. I think the other thing as well that I feel a lot of people in esports have lost, and again, this isn't like relating to what happened in the GC, but the whole idea that that people forget that us owners and founders are human, and we make mistakes, or that we have our own flaws, and sometimes it's hard for us to, I mean, at least for me, it's hard to explain what I'm thinking at all times, because I think very differently. I think very unorthodox from most people. But like, that's because I grew up having a social and a learning disability that I still, even to this day, like, parts of it have come back because I isolate myself in my setup for 18 hours a day. So I think what I'm trying to get at is like everyone in esports, please realize us org owners, we go through a lot of strain. I've talked about this on Twitter just in general, but like, and I'm kind of very lucky because I haven't necessarily had this happen except for like a few rare cases where we spend like so much money and never recover from it in esports. And all we ask for is appreciation and understanding and like trust. That's all I ever ask for is just trust. And so forth. So yeah. I mean that's basically what I always say. Especially given this year, just being the cluster that it has been.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm trying to think. So, I guess going from there, I mean, obviously there's a ton of things that have been going on in streaming and the content world, namely the whole Twitch Dmca thing. What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, okay, so I guess I don't want to say I understand where they're coming from, but I mean, I kind of get it. But I mean, for them to be like, hey, we're going to immediately delete your channel, we're going to do this, and this if you violate this one time, even on old VODs. Like, I feel like the fact that old VODs, I don't think they should count. I think it's like, from this point forward, if this is in any of your content, then we will shut it down.
Now, when you say they, are you referring to Twitch or the recording associations?
The recording associations. Because, I mean, I guess it's like, yeah, you don't want, people just streaming the music without paying for it, I guess. But, I mean, even then, it's just kind of a money grab for them. So that's why I say I kind of understand, but I kind of don't, because you're getting free publicity, right? You're going to have, for example, I don't want to say free publicity, from me, because I'm fairly small.
Yeah.
But I mean, I used to put Green Day, Metallica, Def Leppard, all these big bands. I'd have it running in the background while I'd stream Phasmophobia or Minecraft or whatever it was that I was streaming, Apex. And I feel like they're getting all of this stuff without having to ask for it, and they still are like, nope, sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I've had a couple of music people on the podcast. Obviously, I had Paul Truss, who did all most of the Starset stuff. And then, obviously, most recently, I had Jenny Reeder, who was the president of Fearless. And I both asked them this question and everything, because, we do see, a lot of musicians getting onto Twitch and blah, blah, blah. I think, if it's, those who are really, building their independent scene and trying to grow and stuff like that, that's where I see it, being okay. But, I agree, though, in a sense that the recording associations, especially the RIAA, is probably being a little too, heavy-handed about it. I think the one community on Twitch, out of all the different games and creator communities out there, that I sympathize only with is the IRL community, and that's because they have no control over if music is being played around them, and it's not it's like Jake and Bake can't go to the owner of a mall and say, hey, I'm currently streaming and
please turn off your music.
Yeah, turn off the music for your entire store until I leave. That's not how life works.
Yeah, that's just, being unreasonable.
So I understand with him, because I remember he got, a DMCA takedown for, I think it was, a VC song or something like that. I probably am pronouncing the artist's name wrong, but I am extremely just tired today, so
Hey, don't worry.
My mind's
I
like,
think I know who you're talking about.
yeah, like I forget the exact artist name. I just know it's something similar to that. Like, he was getting a haircut, and you could hear the music in the background from the rest of the mall, and I'm just like, that shouldn't be DMCA-able. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's the biggest thing that I try to explain to a lot of people, though, is that the record labels under the RIAA, the majority of them actually like the creator community, like Twitch and YouTube and stuff like that. You know, the biggest thing, and you know, especially you know, when I talked to Paul Trust last year, you know, I brought this up that, and I think he did a very good job about it as well, was that imagine if we were the artist, right? And, you know, there was someone that was streaming our songs and blah, 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 and we weren't getting paid for it. You'd be ticked, you know. And, you know, you'd be asking your record label, like, hey, record label, you're supposed to be paying me my royalties. Like, why aren't you going after these guys who are not paying the licensing, you know, fees and blah, blah, blah. You know, and a good example I always give is, like, I was in the process of getting, you know, songs licensed to use, you know, on my stream and stuff. I went to bed, literally woke up the next day, and the record label, I won't name who it was, but most people will know, literally tweeted out, like, we love that people want to use our music for Twitch and blah, 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 but it's not it's not licensed, but, you know, we're working on it, because music copyright is a very, like, difficult thing. And, you know, one person I would always suggest to check out for, like, information about the music industry when it comes to streaming is Luke Diamond, who's I think he's also a streamer for Horizon Union, but he's a multi-platinum music engineer as well. Like, he's done stuff with all the major, like, record groups. And, you know, like, when the most recent Twitch controversies came out over the Fortnite event, he was front and center giving, like, having discussions with people and so forth. So, I mean, I'm not saying that take his word as legal advice. God, no. That'd be stupid. That'd be stupid unless, you know, like, he has, you know, some, like, law experience, and that'd be like, okay, cool. But, like, the biggest thing that a lot of people point out is like, oh, but Amazon owns Amazon Music. Couldn't they just do something with that? They could. However, it's not going to happen. The one thing that I see possibly happening, and this was somebody's suggestion on Twitter. I don't remember who tweeted it, but I probably retweeted it when I first saw it. Was just Twitch sets up an agreement where the creator pays for the usage of the song, like gets billed monthly, you know, per usage of a song and so forth. Like, so I think that would be a pretty smart thing, because, like, it at least allows you to do that, and, you know, you're taking care of the artist and everything, you know, and each creator then is kind of like, you know, responsible for, like, okay, paying this and blah, 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 and you know, keeping track of it. So that would be my personal thought. But I mean, the biggest thing that you probably hear a lot of people saying is like, oh, the DMCA is outdated, right? Or it needs to be changed. Here's the problem. It's not going to. And you want to know why? The reason why it's not going to get changed is because the former chairman and CEO of the RIAA and the current chairman and CEO both helped create the DMCA in the first place. And both have law backgrounds. So, it's not getting changed anytime soon. You know? Plus, they spend like $6 million a year on lobbying. So, it's not like they have the money to literally fight this for years and years and years. So,
and I mean, so here's my thing with like spending money for each excuse me.
yeah.
Oh, I'm dying. For each I'm dying again. Huh? Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
So I don't want to. Here's my problem with that is I don't want to spend $5 every time I want to listen to When I Come Around on my stream, right? I'm not gonna every time I fork over $5 for one round of Enter Sandman, I'm not gonna. That's just unreasonable because you've got if big streamers like Ninja and Tim the Tatman did. Well, I mean Ninja's loaded, but
yeah,
so it's probably not a big deal for him. But I'm saying for an average size streamer who makes income from Twitch, and he's like every single time he wants to stream a song, he's got to give him money back, and then that dwindles his income down if he wants to do those things. And I guess it's kind of fair, but it also just seems unreasonable to me. And I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but
yeah, no, I mean I definitely can see where you're coming from on that. I'm trying to find the exact person who said this so that I can okay, so it came from Dan Amrich, who's creator of Hero Falls and all that. He said, here's an idea. Use is flagged and billed to the streamers. Artists should be compensated if you're choosing to use their work in your own. The burden to pay falls on you. It's a Spotify style per play usage fee is what he was thinking. So, which I think would be kind of fair. To have a system very similar to what Spotify does, where it's like, okay, this song got paid and played, a couple times, a month or something like that, which I think like I would say the biggest things are, like how do you determine someone's value, or like how do you like, does Twitch and Amazon go the same route as how Spotify is doing royalties and usage fees, or do they create their own based off what the record labels think is best? Because like somewhat what I'm trying to get at is like, if let's say Selena Gomez got like X amount, but then like Panic at the Disco is higher than Selena Gomez, she's gonna be like, well, what like what the hell? Or no, sorry, if everyone's like all the same, but like Panic at the Disco sells more than Selena Gomez, like they're gonna be like, wait, like why are we not getting paid more royalties than her on this song that's sold more? Or oh, our brand value is bigger than hers. Like Selena fans, don't come at me for that. I have to say that because
right. Everyone watching, don't come at Tristan for anything he said.
Yeah,
having to do with Selena Gomez.
Yeah, I used to be a fan of her music. Used to. I have not been a fan of Selena Gomez music in 6 years.
Since we're on the topic of music and offending fans, I had a run-in with K-pop Twitter. Before I get started, I just want everyone to know this isn't. I'm not coming at you. Please don't hurt me. Please don't cancel me. Please. So I had a run-in with K-pop Twitter, right? So me and my friend Slack use code SLACK, 10% off at Rogue Energy. I'm gonna plug him. Or instead of using code SLACK for 10% off at Rogue Energy, you could go to Juggernaut Energy and use code Awaken.
That's a better idea.
Just better idea, definitely. Yeah. But me and my friend Slack, we were just on Twitter. I don't remember what happened. I think it was a mob. The mob like Classify, Mako, Frosty, Avalanche. They were all doing a mob stream. It was a charity stream, and they hit like a ridiculous amount of money. And the thing was tweet. Make us tweet anything, right?
Yes.
But it can't be, offensive or whatever. And they tweeted like it was like K-poop or K-pop sucks or something. And then everyone got angry at them and called them racist. I don't understand how expressing your opinion for your dislike for K-pop is racist. I don't know. And maybe there's something that I'm just not understanding. I don't know. But please don't come at me for that. Like I just want to reiterate, I'm not trying to.
I have learned
I'm
that
just saying.
I've learned best that when K-pop takes over something on Twitter, it's best to just not open your mouth.
Well, and I didn't open my mouth first. My friend Slack opened his mouth, and I saw it on my timeline. And I'm like, oh, and I clicked on it, and he's just getting reamed by like 7 different people for defending the mob, and I'm like, dude, what even happened? And so I'm trying to defend Slack. I'm like, he's got whatever, and then Slack ended up getting suspended for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember what he said, but he said something. He probably said like "kill" or something, referring to like K-pop Twitter is just out to kill the mob or whatever, and they report him for that. I think it was so annoying. It was like, but there was one K-pop person in that thread who thought things through the way we thought them through, and they were like, I'm sorry for these people. These people do not represent all of K-pop Twitter.
Yeah, like
there are some of us who are nice, and I'm like, yes, thank you. And I think I ended up following them for a while just to be like, yes, you're nice, thank you for being nice. And then
it's like thank you for not jumping on the bandwagon.
Exactly. It's so. I don't listen to K-pop. I don't listen to like any foreign language, anything really. I listen to Green Day.
Yeah, like there's some rock bands who have I wouldn't say toxic fan bases, but it's like they have such a cult following that makes it like I remember when the Pretty Reckless got signed to Fearless, and then they did the Fearless at Home live stream, and the entire live chat was all like TPR, TPR, we want TPR, and I'm just like, okay, I get it.
Calm down.
Like, it's like, this is, like, I'm like, you know, there wasn't, like, banter or, like, attacking people, but it was just, like, trying to combat everyone who was a Pretty Reckless fan and be like, hey, there's tons of other bands here, too, though.
Yeah.
And so, I think that was one of the biggest things that we had to, that I ever had to see, but the music side of Twitter, it's not a fun place to be.
Yeah. I was today on YouTube. I was listening to this dude named State of Mercury. State of Mercury. He is literally the greatest of all time. What he does is he takes Metallica songs, works on them for like weeks and weeks, and then just reworks them into like different albums. So I don't know if you listen to Metallica. I don't think you're like a huge Metallica fan.
I mean, I know of Metallica, but like I don't listen to like their music because I didn't grow up in that time period. Like I respect those who like listen to AC/DC and Metallica and Slayer and stuff like that. But to me, like, no, I'm more of like, I'd say, like Five Finger Death Punch, Starset, Ice Nine Kills, a little bit of Wage War, Asking Alexandria, and then Skillet. Like, so, you know, more of the like heavy hitting bands. Because like, I think the only band that's current in the rock genre that I can't like if I'm listening to like Octane on Sirius XM and I hear them, I skip it. And you're probably gonna cringe or like type in all caps to me in Twitter DMs is Bring Me the Horizon.
I've never even heard of them.
They're a pretty big rock band. But like I'm pulling up actually my Samsung or my Samsung.
Fans of that band, please don't come at me for saying I don't know who that is.
Like Asking Alexandria, Fozzy, Devour the Day, I Prevail, Ice Nine Kills, New Year's Day. I have a couple of their songs. Skillet, Starset, Pretty Reckless, Varials, and Wage Wars, like the main bands I listen to. Pretty good. Like there's a couple of like independent bands I listen to as well, but yeah, I try to get like very good music genres in there, and then I have some like Logic and G-Eazy. So yeah, I mean that's my I guess like my music sense. You know, I was 8, 9 years old listening to rap music, so you know.
Well, so like State of Mercury, he takes Metallica songs
Yeah.
and reworks them to be in other albums. So like I'm just gonna be spewing nonsense at you basically for the next 2 minutes. So basically, for example, my favorite one that he does is Welcome Home Sanitarium, which is one of my favorite Metallica songs. It originally came out on the album called Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
He did a rework where he put Welcome Home Sanitarium on and Justice for All, which is a different album.
Yeah.
Obviously, and each Metallica album, they sound different, obviously, but some of them sound kind of similar. But this was a drastic change. Literally, it was a drastic change because Master of Puppets is more kind of heavy, and Justice for All seemed more, I don't know, like airy and lighter, but still had that like dark tone that Metallica has. And so, like, literally, I'm listening to this. I'm like, this might be better than the original. Like, he works on these for weeks and weeks at a time. Yeah. And just reworks Metallica songs. And it is honestly the greatest thing I have ever heard. And it is one of my favorite channels. Yeah. Like, so just waiting in the middle of school, waiting for the notification pop up and being like, right, new State of Mercury video, ladies and gentlemen. But, so I was looking through the comments of his latest one that he uploaded 12 hours ago. It was if Seek and Destroy was on Injustice for All, I think. And, one dude was complaining about Lars, he's the drummer. Yeah. About him being overrated and like how he like got lazy over the years, and everyone was like, "Yeah, I agree with that." And me, as a big Metallica fan, I'm like, I don't want to. I mean, I didn't say this, but I don't think he got lazy. He just got older, right? These dudes are, I don't know, they're like in their 50s or 60s, still doing world tours, like. Yeah. So he was like.
Like AC/DC is putting out like brand new music right now,
which I listened to that album, and it genuinely sounds just like 80s AC/DC. I am so happy. Yeah. But so he said something, and I obviously I agree with him, and then you got like 47 other comments, and everyone's like reaming him and saying his opinion is wrong, and it's like that's just you being toxic just to be toxic. Like, let the man have an opinion. Yeah, it's like he's not bothering you. Yeah. He's not offending you in any way. He's expressing his opinion. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think it'd be very interesting if he reworked the song and then Metallica's like, "Yo, let's do this."
That would be. I would be so down for that. But so he takes the master tracks. He buys he has the entire discography bought, I think, and he takes the master tracks and the instrumentals and he just switches them, and he's got his own drums, bass, and stuff, and he does everything himself. It's awesome.
So, how is he getting the masters?
The master tracks? Probably a website or something, but he literally takes the master tracks and he puts them in an editor and he records everything himself. It's awesome. And he did something with a guy, I think his name is, I have to look, I think his name is Ben Zimmer, but Metallica this year, before COVID, or last year I think, they did the SNM2, and in 1999 they did a concert with the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra, so it was just all Metallica songs with like a symphony in the background, and they wrote all the notes, and it was genuinely like one of the greatest things of all time. And then they released the second one this year, and this guy named Ben Zimmerman and State of Mercury, they both got together and they worked on No Leaf Clover because they didn't do it in the second S&M, so they came together and they said, okay, what if they did this? This is what it would sound like. And so they made the symphony, like they made the notes for the symphony by themselves, and they did the riffs and stuff by themselves, and they took them. It was I don't know how they did it. I'm gonna pass out. Like it was amazing. Holy crap!
So I just did some research because I was kind of interested on figuring that out. It seems what happened was back in 2012, they bought control of, or Metallica bought control from Warner Brothers, all their master recordings, and then created their own record label. So that's probably what they did. They probably said like, hey, here are all the master tracks and stuff like that. whether I don't know if they like made them digital or whatever. Because I would assume for like the original like Metallica stuff, they would have to have the like two-tone tracks and the physical copies and stuff like that. But I don't know. That's kind of an interesting thing. Is like I see more artists, and this is a whole nother conversation we can have. I see more artists actually getting control of their masters more now because of especially what happened with the Universal Fire back in 2008 that only we found out about last year. And then like on top of that, like what just happened with Taylor Swift, like she just pulled a boss move on the entire industry with what she did very recently. I don't know if you know what she did though.
I do not.
So what happened was when Taylor Swift left Big Machine back like a couple years ago to go to Republic Records, the reason she left is that she had the ability to buy back all of her master recordings, but she was gonna earn them back one by one. So for every old album, they were gonna make her make new ones and everything. She didn't want to do that, obviously, and so sometime last year, Scooter Braun had bought the entire like music label and stuff that she had been with. And there's always been controversy about that because, you know, she claims like bullying and all these different types of things that's happened by the direction of Scooter. But what happened was that Scooter sold the music catalog for Taylor Swift for like $300 million recently to the family of, funny enough, like one of the last remaining like members of the Walt Disney family, like Roy Disney, who passed away I think like a decade or so ago. His like family created like a investment company to buy different things, and they bought the rights to all of Taylor Swift's music right before Taylor Swift was legally allowed to re-record all of her masters, like all of her songs from the first 6 albums, like dating back to like the beginning of her career. And so literally like they tried to get her involved, and she realized like the deal that had been made was that even if she went with the investment company, it'd still be profiting Scooter. She is now legally, and she's already started working on it. She's literally she's re-recording all of her original songs and masters so that she gets she can literally dictate to radio stations, hey, don't play that old version of my song, play this newer version that I own, thus like destroying the value of all the original works that she ever did, which I think is a boss move. It's like, oh, you just sold this right as I'm allowed to legally re-record all these? Huh. I want to say an expletive, but at the same time, I'm going to hold myself back from that. Because, well, nah, actually, I'll say it. Basically, she just basically told the music industry, get fucked. Which is kind of fair. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on that though?
Like you said, boss move.
Yeah, I think also the fact that like looking at what Taylor Swift's been able to do in the music industry, like she literally put I don't think anyone could put Spotify in a corner, and Taylor Swift did it. So, because if you remember a couple years ago, she made the whole push for Spotify to start paying their artists more, and she was like, until you start paying artists more, my entire catalog's gonna be off your streaming service. That I think was. I forget where I was at the time when she did that, and I was just like, oh, this is gonna be fun. Like I was like the live equivalent of like the Michael Jackson eating popcorn gif, just being like great, wondering how that was gonna go. So yeah, I I guess going back to gaming and stuff, like, have you played, like, what games are you playing currently right now?
Ooh, let's see. Currently, I am playing Apex. I'm playing a lot of Apex with my friend Gifted.
Okay.
Dallas. We're grinding for. We're trying to hit Predator. Obviously, that's the big thing is trying to hit Predator. Other than that, nothing really. I've been playing a lot of Apex. I got the PS5, so I have the PlayStation Plus collection, and I want to start God of War because I heard that's an amazing game.
Yeah.
There's one game, I forgot what it's called, but I told myself I was gonna 100% all the trophies for it, and then I stopped playing.
Yeah.
And I'm so close, but I legit have like 600 hours in that game just trying to get all the trophies. So I think I'll hop on that bus again. On that Apex, Rocket League, I'm trying to play Rocket League again.
Yeah.
Battlefront 2, I've been having so much fun playing Battlefront 2, which is really weird because when I pre-ordered it, I pre-ordered the $90 version thinking, oh, it's going to be a great game, then EA totally screwed everybody over. But they fixed everything, which is nice. So I've been having a lot of fun, nice one, Brutus. Having a lot of fun playing Heroes versus Villains.
Yeah.
I mean, mainly those three.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of waiting for the new GTA heist to drop. Because that's something I always do, like, especially when I'm streaming and stuff, is if COD gets too annoying for me, I'm just instantly like, you know what, let's go to GTA, throw up a private server, and literally just grind for like a couple of hours. And then eventually I go back to playing COD, which is typically like a very fun thing to do. You know, I think what's nice about having private lobbies in GTA 5 is, one, anyone can do them, and two, you don't have to deal with anyone screwing up your, like, progress in game. Like, if I'm trying to do, like, crates or trying to do, like, a mission or something like that, I literally have no one bothering me, which is the best thing ever. Because I've had some private lobbies where, like, people get into them and then immediately, like, RPG me while I'm, like, driving with, like, crates, and I'm like, dude, like, that just sets me back. Or not necessarily sets me back, but it's like, guys, I run a friendly lobby.
You're like, I'm not doing anything to you.
Yeah, it's like
trying to grind.
It's like, you know, I've had to kick a couple people from my servers for doing that, because I'm just like, don't immediately come into my lobby and be like, oh, shoots this guy straight in the face, and then be like, well, I didn't know if this was friendly or not. It's like, oh, message me first. You know, but I don't know. I think I might get Siege because Mike and I forget who. I think it was Mike and Darkle mentioned that Steam or Siege is like $10 right now on Steam. So I'm like kind of like maybe. Siege is full of hackers though, so that's my biggest concern.
Siege, so
actually, it wasn't Darkle, it was you. God, I feel like an idiot.
No, don't worry about it. It was me and Mike. Yeah, definitely.
Because I've been talking like with Darkle most of today, and then you as well. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, Siege is full of a bunch of hackers. Not as, I would say, almost as bad as what Call of Duty is going through right now with the competitive stuff. If you've seen Twitter over the last 24 hours. So. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what games I'll play though. I just know I'm not playing Fortnite or CS:GO anymore.
Valorant is a good one. Playing Valorant.
Yeah.
It's like basically if CS:GO and Overwatch had a kid.
I've known about Valorant since before the game came out, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of intrigued, and I mean, I obviously watched a little bit of the First Strike event that happened today at the time of recording this, where 100 Thieves won. So, you know,
I watched that last round. That I was so stressed.
I hate how my tweet aged well, on the Awaken.
Oh, about the
yeah. Like that was a copy pasta from Cloud9, and I tweeted that, and it was kind of like a rib on 100 Thieves, but it was also like cheering them on at the same time, and so I was just kind of like, hopefully, because obviously I'm a big 100 Thieves fan, so I don't know, I would say though that like Valorant to me is a game that I feel like I could get into, but it's just like I don't know. I don't know if like my fan base would like Valorant on stream, or like because my whole problem is like getting into a game late like this and maybe not necessarily doing the best. Like I don't want it to be like how people are in Call of Duty where it's like, oh, you suck, get better. Like, oh, you're trash. Like, for me, it's like, if I'm going to get into a game, it's like, I'm going to get into the game from the beginning. And grind it and everything. But, yeah. I guess what I like to do a lot of times on the podcast is turn the tables and let you kind of ask questions, bring up your own topics and stuff like that. So.
Alright. Where do I start? Let's see. Why did you make Awaken? I'm sure this is the one question that everybody asks on the podcast.
So, I mean, I know it's something that I always bring up in the chat. In the GC and stuff. And that is my love for Optic Gaming. I wanted to create my own organization that was based off a lot of the teachings that Hex had, of great content and really good esports teams and players who share a love for something very similar to each other. So, I mean, and I guess I'm kind of stubborn on that, but it's like, it's because, Optic has this culture and everything that has always resonated with people because it's authentic and it's unique and it's not it's business related, but at the same time, like, they let their personality, their authenticity drive everything. So I would just say that's why, and also because I knew that there were a ton of people out there again that had a similar passion to me, who really wanted to grow, to be the best that they could be, and not a lot of places are gonna give people a home, and so that, I guess that's the best answer I always give.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
So why, I mean, I guess you just explained why Optic, but I mean, you've got, FaZe, you've got 100 Thieves. Well, I mean, 100 Thieves wasn't a thing yet, but
yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know if Energy was a thing.
No.
But I know TSM was.
TSM, Cloud9, FaZe, were, like, I mean, a lot of those orgs were big back in, when I started in everything. So, I mean, I think it just really came down to, I've always played Call of Duty, and when I first again started like watching Twitch and YouTube back in 6th grade, Optic was the thing, and it still is the thing. And so, like, that's not to say that I wasn't a Cloud9 fan or I wasn't a TSM fan at the same time as being a fan of all three, or that I didn't cheer on. Like there were times where I did. If Optic and FaZe were playing each other, it depended on who was the roster at the time and like how and what game it was and everything. Like if it was Optic and FaZe when Aches was there, God no, I couldn't have cheered for FaZe. But like Optic, I mean, I always was there front and center every event that I got the ability to go to. Always immerse myself with the green wall, and so yeah. I think it's just also you feel a personal connection with Optic that you don't get with a lot of other organizations. You don't see like Andy from TSM going to regular events. You don't see like you don't see Jack from Cloud9 going to events and being out there publicly with people. You see him kind of sitting behind behind the stage or this and that. And Hex is always kind of like front and center. Will be there and watch and everything. And I think like one example I gave, or I always give, is like my first event was CWL Anaheim 2017, right? And I was with another org owner at the time, and he's like, "Yo, I just spotted Hex." Like watching, and we were at one of the sub stations at the time or whatever. But it was one of the like raised platforms and everything that had the bigger screens.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, there's no way. And lo and behold, towards the back end over by the G Field booth, and there's a photo and everything from the interview I did with him in a pretty low light condition, where he's just like plain clothes, chilling, like not rocking like any crazy Optic gear, and like you would never have thought, oh, that's Hex, unless you knew about it. So I think that again, that's just how it resonated with me, that he cares about everything. And one of the other examples I learned about was during the Black Ops 4 season, was at the London event. Even as they were closing up the venue, he was still taking photos and saying hi to people, and if they had something for him to sign, he would sign it and stuff. And he literally told security, supposedly, "I'm not going to leave until I say hi and chat with every single one of these fans," which like is super admirable. Because
goat activity, literally.
Like literally, because when security is like pushing you out, and you're like, no, I'm gonna do this. Or like a good example I always give of where like Hex really cares about fans is I did an interview with him, and I was super jet lagged this day, because literally it was like the first day of the event, World War II, 2018 and everything. I literally got off the plane, got in my grandmother's car, got to the Hilton Anaheim Hotel, checked in, dropped all my stuff, went to the venue, forgot my smartphone grip, and there were a couple times where like holding my old iPhone, where I would like accidentally veer off, and he's like, like you gotta be focused, like watching this and everything. And like most people who are owners wouldn't really care about that, but as someone who's like doing this podcast or was like interviewing him in front of people and everything, like the fact that he stopped and checked me mid video, I thought was super like was super humbling, because like he cared in that moment to make sure that quality lived up to obviously the expectations that I would have wanted, and that he would want if it was his video. So
yeah, definitely. And I'm looking at the Team Awaken.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, the Team Awaken thing. I found the Optic, the Hex.
Yeah, like
and you did one with Hitch and Diesel. Nice.
Yeah, I did Diesel. I did Hitch. I did TST at the event before Immortals bought Optic.
You did Maniac.
Yes. I tried to do Hex. but like it was in the middle of the reverse sweep with FaZe. So I got like maybe like 16 seconds with him in there, but even to me, like that was like at least it was like, hey, he's in here, you know?
Yeah, like this is Optic Hex.
It's like, yo, it's Hex. So I'm trying to think of that specific one. Yeah, so yeah, that 2018-2019 one, yeah, that one is where you'll see him like checking me mid video, and I really appreciated that he did that. So yeah, but no, I mean, the other example I also give is, so CWO Vegas, right? Again, you know, first event of Black Ops 4 season. The day of the grand final, I had asked Hex a couple different times, like, hey, do you know, can we, you know, knock out this interview real quick, you know, just a couple minutes. And, you know, he'd end up getting busy, or like, oh, like, hey, you know, maybe after, you know, this series or something like that. And then, you know, he'd have to go take care of something. And as someone who's an Oregoner and also understanding of his time, I do appreciate, you know, that he's not like, you know, being like, yeah, sure, like, let's do that. And then immediately, like, you know, departing.
Yeah.
But 5 hours after the grand finals had concluded and Optic had won, right? I'm standing in the middle of the Hard Rock Hotel. God, I mean, the Hard Rock Hotel doesn't exist anymore in Vegas, which sucks. But Hex was with his, like, entourage group and stuff like that. And he literally comes up to me and he's like, are you ready to do this? Like, keep in mind, that's 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I thought you'd never I thought you'd never ask, or, you know, I was partially like, you know, like, I was so, like, upset because in my mind I was like, this might be the first event I go to where I don't get to interview Hex, and I break my streak. And then literally that night, like, he did that, and I was just like, that's how you know this man cares. Because he could have just kept going on and gambling and hanging with his crew.
Yeah.
But he stopped to say, like, hey, man, I made this commitment. I'm going to keep with it. You know, I've got a signed hat that he has in, like, one of his... I've got a signed hat of mine that he showed in one of his vlogs. So, you know, like... I think it's something that's really special. Is just, again, that love that, like, you don't get that with any other Oregoner. So,
I feel like definitely Hex and Nate Shot personally are, like, the two, I want to say, most
respectful,
personal.
Yeah. Like,
Oregoners, definitely.
Yeah. Like, and, you know, like, another good example in that was, like, last year when I went to Anaheim. You know, like, Nate was doing photos and stuff with everybody, and, you know, I asked him, I was like, do you mind if I interview you? And he's like, no, I'm not going to do interviews, but, you know, photos are okay. I was like, okay, cool. You know, because I understand that. You know, he's, you know, camera shy and stuff like that, with other people. So, I get it, you know, and, you know, I still did a photo with him because, you know, it's like, hey, it's Nate Shot. I've got a signed pair. I've got a pair of Jordans that he signed one year, which has a, like, funny story to it, actually, because we didn't. Me and a friend didn't expect him to show up to that event, and so the fact that I have that signed pair of shoes is, like, even better. But yeah, so I mean, Hex, Nade, you know, those are two guys that obviously, like, I look up to and I revere, and, you know, they're the reason why I've been doing this. And they know that. So, it's something that I just strive to be as good as they are.
Yeah.
Probably I probably strive way, like, higher than I probably should. But, you know, it's
I don't think you strive farther than you should. I think you're where you need to be.
Yeah. I think it's just like, again, like really like having the self-confidence for me, and knowing everyone's confident in me is my my waterfall, I would say. But yeah, so I mean, I guess that answers that question.
Yeah, definitely.
In a longer than probably normal answer.
Well, I mean, it was a great answer. Good answer, Tristan.
Yeah. So, I guess any other questions or topics or anything you want to bring up, even gaming or just
I'm trying to think.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be related to gaming too. So.
I talk about The Mandalorian, but I haven't seen the latest episode, so I don't know anything that happened.
I've not watched a single episode of The Mandalorian.
Alright.
Yeah, no, like, and for me it's because it's the way my frustrations with Disney is reflected because of Marvel Studios, which I've talked about my issues with Marvel Studios pretty well, both on Twitter publicly and in the GC a lot. But like, I've heard rumors Disney's apparently going to merge Hulu into Disney Plus, which if they do, it's probably going to be the only reason I get Disney Plus. Is to continue watching all the shows that I'm watching currently. It'll be interesting to see like if they keep like the Hulu platform and all this and that, because it's not just like Hulu shows that are on Hulu. It's like, you know, there's Fox, there's TNT, there's all these different shows. Like God, I'm currently rewatching The Last Ship on Hulu. I'm constantly going back and watching Cloak and Dagger and Runaways. And as well, you know, the X-Men shows like The Gifted. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was on Hulu, but now it's on Netflix, which is okay because all 7 seasons are there. 24 is there, and I love that they've kept all 9 seasons of 24 because it's Kiefer Sutherland, Jack Bauer, like who can't say no to that. I mean, there's a couple different shows that I watch though, because it's just, you know, Hulu just has like almost everything, and that's what makes it so fun though. Like I'm actually pulling up my Hulu here, and I'll, like, literally, I'm basically, what I'm doing is I'm exposing myself with the shows I watch here. Last Ship, Cloak and Dagger, 6, which is the show based off Steel, that is kind of done like, it basically, 6 is kind of like just more episodic, like regular version of SEAL Team 6. Underworld, Next, Runaways, Gifted. I have a couple of different shows which I haven't watched, which is Utopia Falls and The First. But then 24, Hellstrom, Legion, SWAT, Manifest, The Blacklist, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Those are the shows I watch on Hulu. So you guys can definitely tell I am a man of culture here.
Yeah, definitely a big Marvel guy.
Well,
see, where you are in Marvel, I am in Star Wars. Like, I have, like, on my shelves, I don't know if you can see my shelves, you can. So on my shelves, I've got just Star Wars Lego sets.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and I've got, like, a bunch in a tote in my basement.
Now the real test of your Star Wars Lego fandom is, do you have the Death Star or the Millennium Falcon?
I do not, but I'm saving up to, instead of getting the Millennium Falcon, I'm gonna get the Star Destroyer.
Okay.
Because the Star Destroyer, the new one, looks sick. It is $700, and I feel like that's a little overpriced. But I mean, it's literally like as big or bigger than my desk I'm at right now.
Okay, so then yeah. I mean, well, okay, so here are for those that don't know me and want to know why I have issues with Marvel Studios, let me just crash course you all real quick. Okay.
Crash course in 2 minutes.
Okay,
Setting a timer.
so first off, the fact that Marvel Studios never really recognizes the shows, because, you know, like, I get that, you know, after 2015 they really didn't have to, or they didn't have to really respond publicly about the shows because Marvel Studios went to Disney. It is understandable, but I would have liked it if, like, with all the times that they went to New York, right? You know, once Daredevil came out, like, at least be like, oh, you know, like include some cameo or like some hidden reference on like a newspaper that Daredevil's there, or like, you know, group of 5 take down Kingpin or something like that. The other thing is that, like, canceling some of these shows that were expected to get like really good results, like Cloak and Dagger, people really thought was supposed to get a season 3, and the network that they had that on, which is like a basic cable network, uses the same excuse for all their shows of, oh, we got a 40% rating drop, so we're going to cancel the show. Or like Runaways was on Hulu, and that was they had plans to make a season 4, but they were like, we don't know if this is going to be the series finale when we're doing season 3. And they literally told one of the actors what plans for season 4 was going to be, and he's like, I wish I hadn't known what the plans were before the show got canceled by Marvel Studios. The other problem is the amount of times that they held back Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from doing certain things that I personally felt would have made the show a lot better. Like in season 1, they literally, because of Captain America the Winter Soldier, told the guys doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you cannot talk about spies, you cannot talk about Hydra, you cannot do anything with AI, you cannot do anything with robots. You have to really follow what we want you to do. And these are, and also, yeah, you can't use any of the main, like, Avengers level cast members. You can use like Samuel L. Jackson and Maria Hill and or Colby Smulders, you know, their characters, and you can only do this and that. And then, like, if you look at especially like Clark Gregg, who played Coulson, and Ming-Na Wen, who played May, they literally have come out and said, like, oh, after after the Winter Soldier came out, like, the embargo was lifted and they could almost do, like, they felt more creatively free. I remember as well, Marvel Studios blocked them from using Sword from the comics because they were going to have it in Far From Home. They wouldn't let Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. do MODOK in season 4. They had plans to, because if you go and watch season 4, they have like this Russian soldier type guy who gets turned into a life model decoy, and they cut his head off and everything and stuff it into a glass jar, and they're like, that was supposed to be MODOK, but they wouldn't let us use that character. The other thing I really hate is, like, Marvel Television was supposed to do a show on damage control, the construction cleanup crew, based off the Avengers and stuff, and Marvel Studios literally canceled the entire show just so that they could have it do a brief cameo for a couple minutes in Spider-Man's the most recent Spider-Man movie that came out, I think, like a year or two ago. That, and also canceling the Ghost Rider comic or show that was supposed to be on Hulu, or the live action Ghost Rider, because they want to use it in the MCU. But then, like, when you look at it, there's been like 5 different Ghost Rider characters over the span of Ghost Rider being a thing in Marvel. So it's like, okay, why couldn't you just do Johnny Blaze and then, you know, have, hey, this is a separate Ghost Rider type arc, you know, of a different character and blah, blah, blah. Those are my main quips. Also, I just feel like there's things in some of the movies that don't make sense to me as well. And even those are, like, getting into the Disney Plus shows, which irk me a little bit more, because I've always told someone, I was like, if you look at, like, Mulan, when it reached Disney Plus, right, everyone thought Mulan was going to be this really good movie, and it did terrible for Disney in terms of earnings and ratings. Like Borat did better on Amazon Video in its first weekend than Mulan did on Disney Plus. My biggest criticism is like if they do Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki, all these other shows, and it bombs after Marvel Studios canceled shows like Cloak and Dagger that had at least 2 seasons, Runaways that had 3 seasons, and again the planned 4th. Like, it kind of sends a big signal that you guys kind of failed, and it leaves them in a bad place, especially considering how much money Disney is putting on these Marvel Studio shows. Like, they're typically like 6 to 8 episodes long, and guess how much money they're spending on just like those shows on each one of them?
Probably like millions, or maybe a million.
25 million per episode. So it's like in 8 episodes.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah, so like 8 episodes is like $200 million. I'm like, yeah, $200 million down the drain if this show does not do well is a really, really bad thing. Considering also they've had to push back a lot of these shows on production, and they won't even Disney's literally getting forced almost to release Black Widow on Disney Plus, and Marvel Studios is fighting that to be like, oh, we want this in theaters, and it's just like that's not really reassuring to me as a person. So there's my crash course TED Talk on why I don't like Marvel Studios.
You went like 4 minutes over the timer.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you have to though, in order to like really make a concise argument. But yeah, I mean, I think all my points though, when like you add them up and you really like look at them on paper, or even like in your head, you'll be like, yeah, that's a very valid argument for why Tristan would hate Marvel Studios or Disney at the most. So there, yeah. Apologies for going over my time limit, but hey,
jeez,
you know.
What time is it? 8:48.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, I told you, like, we can, podcasts are like, I think the longest podcast I've ever done was 3.5 hours. And that could have honestly been as well, like, I think that person that was planned with, I think we jokingly were talking about a part 2. So.
A sequel.
Yeah. Well, because I've done a couple round 2s on the podcast and stuff. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. But, I guess going from there, though, what else do you want to talk about?
I'm not sure. I've got no more questions.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Dang.
Yeah.
I genuinely have no questions.
Yeah, I mean,
because I think some of the questions I was gonna ask you, you kind of answered in turn with the questions you asked me. So there's really, I genuinely don't have anything else.
Now I have one question for you because I know you are a Star Wars fan and everything. How do you think? Right. How do you think Disney has been with the Star Wars franchise since they bought it from George Lucas? Like movies and everything.
They totally screwed everything over. I don't know when Disney bought Star Wars. I'm not like super into that. I think it was prequels.
I can tell you when. Here.
Yeah, that'll.
Let me see when they bought Lucasfilms. It's looking like 2012.
Disney bought it in 2012? Okay. Yeah. So, George Lucas made the prequels. The prequels were decent. They were not great. But Disney, when they bought Star Wars, they made all of the cool comics and all of the cool books I've got one somewhere. All of the good, like, lore and stuff that all the fans made, they made it not canon. So, like, there was one. I have both of these books. It's called Death Troopers and Red Harvest, and basically it was talking about how there was a secret Imperial operation going on where, like, they were trying to make super soldiers, and what it ended up doing was it ended up killing the stormtroopers. So, like, they would inject it trying to make them super soldiers. It ended up killing the stormtroopers and it turned them into zombies.
Yeah.
Like, that space zombies. Then they, like, in the first book, like, there was just an Imperial Star Destroyer with a SOS beacon just setting out, and the main character, his ship went over to it, and they, had a boarding party. There was nothing. It was completely dead, and the entire crew had been turned into zombies. So they have to fight these space stormtroopers. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And so that was canon, and then Disney bought it, and now it's not.
Yeah, that's another thing that, again, I also have a problem with Marvel with the films and the TV, because they're shared universes, but with the films never referencing the shows, there's always this argument of, like, is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter and Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Cloak and Dagger and Runaways, even though they're in their own shows and in their own locations, are they canon for referencing part of the films or other shows? And it's like, Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige won't ever say anything about it. Like, the most that they've ever said, which ignited the whole canon argument with Marvel, is like when the Disney Plus shows were first announced. They were like, oh, this will be the first time that the shows interlink with movies. And we're like, okay, like, that's good to know, but, like, what about these shows that we all loved? It's like, I prefer that, like, Marvel just do what DC does, where it's the extended universe, right? Where, like, okay, yes, there's the DC film world, and then there's the, like, the shows that get put onto, like, the CW and the Arrowverse, which is part of the DC Comics extended universe. Because it's like, yeah, they are part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're just not our, like, side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, as someone who didn't grow up being a Star Wars fan, I understand why a lot of people are upset, because it's like, very, like, George Lucas trusted Disney and it kind of backfired on him. And I know that that's something he fought to keep creative control, but he had to let go of it, because otherwise he couldn't have, like, I forget what the specifics were on it. I think it was something where, like, Lucasfilms at the time was in, like, a pretty, I don't think they were in a bad financial situation. I'll have to, like, listen back to the Bob Iger book about it, but he does talk about the situation that Lucasfilms was in, and the whole process of acquiring them and so forth. So that, I think, I will say this, though, at least Disney, though, like, for spending around the same budget on the Star Wars films as some of the, like, prequels were, and generating $1 billion each movie, besides, like, I think, Solo was the one that, like, did pretty bad.
The only reason Solo didn't do well was, I think there was a boycott for, there was a boycott for the movie theaters, and that was the only. Well.
Yeah. I don't necessarily know exactly why. But yeah, like, it was considered to be really like a box office bomb.
Yeah.
And so they claimed that it was they claimed it was because of online trolls for the film's underwhelming box office performance, which I guess I could see that. But even, like, when the first trailer came out, people thought it was dull and all this and that. So, I mean, I'm hoping that Disney redeems itself with Star Wars, but who knows, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, The Mandalorian, I love that they're, like, going all in with The Mandalorian when really there's not, like, much other content on Disney Plus to watch. But, at least there's that, So, yeah. I mean, other than that, dude, like, I guess with the new year, the new vibes going on in the GC and stuff, like, what are you most excited or looking forward to with the new year?
With Awaken, I mean, like, I've just kind of been not motivated to make content. So I'm slowly getting my mojo back, and I'm slowly being like, okay, you can sit down, make a video, edit it, do whatever, but I've just been so busy with school and, like, my family and our house. We've been trying to, like, make renovations and stuff, so, I mean, I've got, to help them with all that stuff, and then there's school, and it's all online, so, I mean, it's a mess, so I've been just kind of not motivated at all to do anything. I literally, this year has sucked so bad. Okay, well, I don't want to say sucked so bad, because I probably would have done this even if this year wasn't terrible, but I was in the top 0.001% of Green Day's listeners on Spotify. Like, I think every single day this year, I had an earbud in my ear listening to Green Day.
If I was on Spotify, like, if I had Spotify, I probably would be the same for Starset. But
I mean,
I don't use Spotify at all, which is kind of a shocker to most people that I don't use Spotify.
Well, I mean, like, so I've just been, like, not motivated to make content. And then, I don't know, I guess...
Do you think that... Sorry for cutting you off here. Do you think the, like, lack of motivation for making content is maybe that, like, content is always, like, so overdone? Like, there's always so many different things that have been done that you're like, oh, if I try to do this, then, someone's going to see it as I'm copying this, or, like, oh, this isn't a, like, original idea, or, like, is it just more of, like, is it maybe like a combination of both?
It's a combination of both, really. I mean, like, I don't know, I guess because of quarantine and just, like, everything that's been going on, like, moving, like, we moved into our house in August and we're still in the process of moving still, so, like, it's been a deal, and I don't know, I guess it's just, like, real life stuff, and then also the fact that quarantine happened, and, like, I don't know, but I've just been really unmotivated, but I have been slowly getting my mojo back. So, new year, a lot of stuff.
I think you guys can... I think you and a lot of other people can tell that I'm trying to get my mojo back to like, the way I used to be. It's just kind of taking me time to do that. And it's not that I think, like, one of the things I really tell people is, like, I'm okay with not uploading for an entire week on YouTube these days, because, like, I've been doing it for 8 years, where sometimes it was day after day, not eating lunch at school so I could make a video, to where it's like, guys, if I want to sleep for 5 days and not make videos,
let me sleep for 5 days.
It's like let me sleep for this amount of time, or, like, sometimes I get so busy with running the org that I don't get to make content. And so, like, like, for instance, with Modern Warfare, I had so much content I planned on doing that sometimes I just couldn't do. One of the things I really liked that they did add towards the end of Modern Warfare, and I wish that they would have added it sooner, was the whole store function, where, like, not that where you could buy the blueprints and stuff, but they added something into the creative class where you could see all the available, like, blueprints that have been released over time, and like, class setups and everything for those, and then I would go and recreate them without buying the classes, or without buying the blueprints, and then I'd use those for making videos. you know, and I planned on doing like a ton of them, and I just never got to doing them, you know, which kind of sucked. But I have a ton of content that's like ready to go for Cold War though. That just like I think how I'm gonna do is like upload once and then like every 2 days it's gonna be like a new video, because I don't want to put like strain on myself. And the other problem I really have is like waiting for new content to drop and everything, so that I can keep myself in that pace of like, okay, you know, this and this and that. So who knows though, what 2021 will bring. I mean, I'm going back to college as well in the summer next year, so that'll be interesting because I dropped out of community college almost 2 years ago. So, but I mean, I also kind of have a plan now for myself when it comes to college. I know what like classes I want to take, you know, like internships and everything, and then, you know, I'm also kind of now motivated more than ever to get my ideas for a collegiate program off the ground, especially after what happened today.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because... Did I I mentioned about what happened in the chat. Did I? Yeah. And at first that really hurt me a lot. Like, when that situation happened. Not the one that happened earlier on tonight, but what happened earlier this morning though with that one guy really just bothered me. Absolutely. So yeah, I think I'm just excited for a new year, to really like change things up and get better and do better. So ooh. Don't know if we lost him here or not. All right.
Hello, am I alive?
Yep, there you go. You're back. What happened there? Was it like a glitch or something, or?
I don't know. Like my lights flashed. Like I have like a. I don't want to say it's a nightlight. It's not a night light.
Yeah.
It's not a light. It's like a light, and it flashed.
Yeah.
And then like it cut out. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know either. That was kind of odd, but no. I mean like okay, so like what's your like favorite college sports team? I guess.
College sports?
Yeah. Because I want to use this as an analogy and everything, or
probably Montana Grizzlies. They're in up in Missoula.
Yeah. So
Montana.
Yeah. So think of it like this, right? Something like the University of Texas football, right? Has like amazing facilities, top tier sponsorships, top tier content, media, facilities, fan base, like everything, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that, but with esports. Now on top of that, imagine if it was done with somebody like me as the program director. Like that being, like I've had plans that are like light years ahead of what anyone else is doing. It's literally just getting a college to trust me as an outsider, because like most of these universities that are doing it are private universities, and I'm not about to pay tuition that's like out of my price point to do so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of schools here in Nebraska that do it, that like if they were like, hey, you live here, you're an you already know this scene, let's have you come in and help, I'd do it. Absolutely. I mean, I know that one school in particular I plan on going to after I get my 2-year degree done. So I might like insert myself in there and be like, yo, so what's good? But I don't know what the future will hold. I just know that I want to do something with a college program because I feel like it'd be nice to take what I've learned and everything. But yeah, I mean, I guess other than that, dude, again, I appreciate you coming on to the podcast.
Yeah, of course.
Chatting for the amount of time that we did, because I mean, like, it's
almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
6 minutes, then it'll be 2 hours.
Well, I mean, we could probably prolong that with just outros.
We could. Do you want to? I have to leave in 4 minutes, so we can totally do that.
So yeah, I mean, again, I appreciate you coming on to the podcast and everything, and hanging out and stuff. Again, really happy to have you with Awaken and everything. And sticking around, because I know that it's not been the easiest couple months for a lot of us, but like, I think 2021 will be where things like really turn around, and really get to where we need to. I think 2020 Awaken is like how 2018 Optic was, where it's just like down on some fronts and really like having a lot of trouble. Well, not trouble, just having a lot of like stability. So I think that's fair assessment. But again, if you want to plug your socials and everything, that way people can know where to find you and keep up with you when you decide to post or additionally upload content, I guess the floor is yours.
Okay, I know you do I know you put the guest socials in the thumbnail and stuff, but twitch.tv/KidBrutus, I try to stream at least once a week, usually on weekends. I'll play either Valorant or Phasmophobia or Minecraft, whatever I'm feeling that day.
Yeah.
YouTube, I'll give Tristan the link and he can flash it on the screen or something. Or put it in the description. But my YouTube is the Kid Brutus. I post inconsistently. I try and put out good content. The last few videos I've done have been pretty decent. I've privated all of my old stuff so you don't have to see any cringy things. Instagram, the Kid Brutus. All of my socials are the Kid Brutus, really, and I just kind of do whatever I feel like.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm feeling.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fun. But again, I appreciate you coming on to the podcast and everything.
Yeah.
For the people that are listening to the podcast, whether it's on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, whatever it may be, thank you guys for listening. Make sure to leave a rating or a review. It helps me. And I know every guest appreciates it if you leave a rating or review on their episode, because that's what.
Yes, it makes us feel good.
It makes me feel happy when I'm editing these videos. And then apologies to those listening on or who have Apple. This podcast is never going on Apple Podcasts, unfortunately. I don't think that's too much of an issue because most Apple users probably use Spotify anyways.
Yeah.
And then if you're watching the video on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel, obviously, because typically if this gets posted to the Awaken channel, you're not just going to be watching this, you're going to be able to watch tons of content that I have planned and working on behind this.
Definitely 2021 Awaken Militia. We're back, baby.
Yes, sir.
We're back.
I think especially after the pun intended, the awakening that I had today, with what happened, I think
the awakening.
Funny enough, that's what our first content series used to be called, was Awakening, and then I had to shorten it up and also got a better logo for the new name of the series last year. So but yeah, I think 2021 will be a lot better. already getting some business moves and so forth. Possibly getting an office next year. So who knows? But yeah, it'll be a very interesting year. So again, Brutus, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
And that being said, you guys know who I am. My name's Tristan. You guys call me Taze, host of the podcast. And with that being said, see all of you in the next episode.
Bye.
All right.